On Friday, January 3, 2020, the BBC reported that Chinese authorities have launched an investigation into a mysterious viral pneumonia, which has infected dozens of people in Wuhan. 44 cases have been confirmed, 11 of which are considered severe. The Chinese government alerts the U.S. Centers for Disease Control of the new viral threat, whose first cases had been detected in December 2019. Quite remarkably, within a month since the first reports, on January 11, Professor Edward Holmes of Sydney, Australia, on behalf of Professor Yongjun Chong of Fudan University in Shanghai, posted on Twitter the entire genome of the new virus, affording free, open access to the global scientific community. Based on its sequence, it was clearly a coronavirus whose phylogeny places it within the beta coronaviruses, very closely related to SARS-CoV of 2003. Hence, the new virus was named Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2, or SARS-CoV-2. As to be expected, an enveloped virus with a very large genome, coding for some 29 proteins decorated with the characteristic petal-like protrusions made of trimeric spike proteins. SARS-CoV-2 is the causative agent of coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19. Hence, SARS-CoV-2, the virus, COVID-19, the disease. Just as some viruses have formal names distinct from the common name of the disease which they cause. For example, varicella zoster virus causes chickenpox. The origin of the virus has been a topic of some debate, and conspiracy theories have been proposed. However, the natural reservoir, once again, could likely be bats, and a number of transient vectors, such as pangolins, have been suggested to have been the source of the spillover to man. Similarly to SARS and MERS, community transmission is primarily via airborne microdroplets. COVID-2 is thus the seventh human coronavirus, causing the third serious pandemic of the 21st century. However, in contrast to MERS and SARS, COVID-2 has proven to be far more devastating. To date, as of April 2022, over 500 million people have been infected, with over 6 million deaths reported in over 220 countries globally. Clearly, this is a very different from the 8,000 infected with SARS-CoV-1 and 2,600 with MERS. Fortunately, the fatality rates are very different, with 10% and 35% deaths for SARS and MERS compared to less than 2% for COVID-2. Three factors might explain these differences. COVID-19 is an upper respiratory disease versus lower lung pneumonia of SARS and MERS, and thus less severe. Most dramatic is the fact that whereas MERS and SARS-CoV-1 are most contagious at the peak of symptomatic illness, COVID-2 can be transmitted asymptomatically. Thus, infected people who feel well and strong circulate freely in shopping malls and schools, going about their lives not realizing that at the same time they are spreading the disease. And finally, SARS-CoV-2 has quickly adapted to efficiently bind its receptor ACE2. As more and more people get infected, COVID-2 has more and more opportunity to replicate, acquire mutations, and generate new viral variants. Variants with ever improved affinity for ACE2 and consequently increased capacity to infect. Here, let's look at the structure of the COVID-2 RBD. Here is the ancestral Wuhan strain binding its receptor ACE2. Selection for preferred binding has led to the emergence of the alpha variant in the UK, where residue asparagine 501 converts to tyrosine and a better fit with ACE2 is realized. The beta variant selects for two more mutations that enhance binding. Delta finds a slightly different but markedly more effective change. Note, the variations fall within the surface of the RBD that contacts the receptor. The Omicron variant is dramatic. illustrating how versatile COVID-2 can be and how new variants might still be in store for us.